Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Topping our newscast, the car ferry situation between St. Thomas and St. John is not seeing much relief yet. Global Marine's General 2 is still out of service because of Coast Guard compliance issues. Existing car barge companies are also blocking a solution offered by the Port Authority to bring relief to travelers. Get one more company in the car ferrying business. News 2's April Knight has more.
One car ferry between St. Thomas and St. John cannot get back in business yet, not until it fulfills a condition by the U.S. Coast Guard. The General 2 was on dry dock a few weeks ago, which added to the car barge shortage. Now it can't get approval from the Coast Guard to operate again until it spends $50,000 to replace its boat ramp. VI Port Authority Director Carlton Dow said it's out of their hands.
It's on the dry dock. The Coast Guard is who they have been working with, so it has nothing to do with the Port Authority. They're being on dry dock. It's an issue that they're dealing with the Coast Guard.
The Port Authority Board, meanwhile, is also backtracking on the initial tentative approval for Varlac Venture to also operate a car ferry. That's on top of the company's main operations, ferrying people back and forth between St. Thomas and St. John.
A couple of companies asked that they be heard to a meeting before it's ratified, because although they had a poll vote, the members still have to ratify it in a general meeting.
Other car barge companies opposed Varlac's request, saying this would result in the added pressure of competition from a company that has unfair advantage since it's receiving government subsidies. But with the current shortage of car barges, Varlac might just get the nod of approval.
It's a proposal that I would be, a recommendation that I would ultimately be making. The issue of the service, it just come to a critical situation with them being out of service. But what I will tell you is that there are issues with the operation, even when they are in service.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
In other news, a man was treated and released after a tractor-trailer truck accident. The truck overturned in the parking lot of the VI Territorial Management Agency on St. Thomas Tuesday around 3 p.m. Police say the truck was carrying two modular concrete bunker shelters belonging to Vitima, and the driver stopped to speak with someone on an incline when the trailer started to lift, then shifted and turned over on its left side. The driver complained of back pain and was treated and released at the hospital. The Senate Finance Committee met on St. Croix today and heard budget presentations from three government agencies. The Virgin Islands Waste Management Authority was first up, and officials took the opportunity to stress the fact that the authority's operations are suffering from a crippling financial situation. News 2's April Knight has details.
Steve Aubin, currently the interim executive director at the VI Waste Management Authority, came before the Senate Finance Committee on Thursday. His agency is requesting some $32 million for fiscal year 2017. According to Aubin, waste management is suffering from fiscal issues compounded from previous years, including unfunded projects, and he said the condition worsens each year that it remains unresolved. The VI government, for instance, currently owes Waste Management some $12.8 million. Waste Management officials also told lawmakers that they owe their vendors some $10 million. That could result in work stoppage and eventually a public health crisis. They also said they're at risk of losing federal funding if funds for certain projects don't get expended on time.
$4.7 million of outstanding out of a $10 million original grant. And these $4 million have to be spent in the next 3 months. There are 3 projects that are large enough.
On St. Thomas, the authority is also reopening its Mandal bin site, which has been disrupted by WAPA cutting off its power. Waste Management owes WAPA some $1.9 million in power bills, and WAPA refuses to turn the lights back on until they settle on a payment plan.
We've had some fruitful discussions and we're moving towards resolving the issue, but irregardless, we have to open.
So you open it with generator?
Yes, with generator power. It'll just have to run during the day, and even to that, we're looking at to minimize use of it.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Also at the Senate were two other agencies. The Bureau of Corrections, led by Director Rick Mulgrave, presented a budget of $35.9 million. The Virgin Islands Housing Authority, led by Adrian Williams, also presented a $2 million budget for fiscal year 2017. The Housing Authority shared accomplishments that they're most proud of. Here are a few of them, including helping a record number of new homeowners within 1 year.
The VIHFA is particularly proud to have assisted in the creation of 36 new homeowners for FY 2015, which is a record amount for the authority for a 1-year period. Provided 331 families with homebuyer education and financial fitness workshops in FY 2015. Secured a 2016 HUD Counseling Grant in the amount of $21,971.
In crime reports on Wednesday, July 20th, police say at approximately 11 p.m. they traveled to the Schneider Hospital and spoke to two assault victims who said they were driving in the area of the Lionel Roberts Stadium when shots were fired towards them. Here's more.
The victims further explained that they did not see where the shots came from or who fired the shots. Both victims were treated for broken glass splinters to their hands and were later released from the hospital. The vehicle received several bullet holes to the windshield, windows, and body. The forensic detectives and crime scene technicians took photographs and processed the damage to the vehicle. This case is presently under investigations by the Investigations Bureau.
On Friday, June 25th at approximately 11 a.m., the owner of the Boogie Woogie called the 911 emergency call center and reported that his business had been burglarized. Monday, July 18th, officers gained information that Marty Glover was hiding in the estate Nada Hill area at approximately 2 p.m. While conducting an inspection in the Nada Hill area, officers made contact with Mr. Glover. He was then arrested and charged with third-degree burglary after he was observed on video surveillance breaking into Boogie Woogie and removing several bottles of liquor from inside of same. Bail for Marty Glover was set at $25,000. Overseas all week, we've been building up to tonight when Donald Trump will formally accept the nomination to be the Republican presidential candidate. But a major snub is showing a rift in the party that could put a damper on Trump's moment of glory. Chris Welch is in Cleveland with the latest.
To say it's been an unconventional convention would be an understatement.
Roll call vote!
From TV stars and former underwear models,
we're gonna win,
to blockbuster theatrics and soap opera style drama. In true Trump fashion, there have been few dull moments. And now, with the man himself set to take the stage, politicos in Cleveland are anxiously waiting to see what Trump has in store for his formal acceptance speech.
I look forward to sharing my thoughts with you on Thursday night on how we build a brighter and more hopeful future for all Americans.
But it wouldn't be 2016 without controversy. Trump's bitter rival, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, remained defiant Thursday morning.
I am not in the habit of supporting people who attack my wife and attack my father.
After failing to endorse Trump in sensational fashion Wednesday night.
Vote your conscience, vote for candidates up and down the ticket.
But Cruz was ultimately upstaged by the nominee, who appeared in the audience as the rancorous crowd booed while Cruz finished. Now Trump will face his final test of the week. Can the billionaire showman galvanize a fractured party behind his message?
There's going to be discipline to it. There's going to be a lot of talk of those things and what the path is for this country and how he envisions getting that done.
Well, turn our attention overseas again. This video has gone viral. You may have seen it. It showed moments before North Miami police shot an unarmed man with his hands up while he was on the ground. Charles Kinsey, you see here in this video, lying on the ground. Kinsey works as a mental health professional at a group home. He says he was in the street trying to get an upset autistic patient to come back inside. Kinsey says he was pleading with cops to stand down when one of them shot him. Police say someone had called 911 saying there was a man walking around with a gun. No gun was retrieved from the scene. Kinsey says his patient had a toy truck. The officer who shot Kinsey is on administrative leave. The city's new police chief says the department has turned the case over to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and the state's attorney office. Kinsey was shot in the leg. The actual shooting was not captured on camera, but Kinsey says he had his hands up the entire time. Keeping our eye on the economy, Donald Trump last month forgave more than $47 million in loans to his own campaign committee. The move means Trump did in fact pay for much of his primary battle with his own money. It also underlines the GOP nominee's struggle to catch up with Hillary Clinton in the fundraising wars. The Trump campaign had $20.2 million in the bank as of June 30th. The Clinton campaign reported $44 million as the two opponents enter the home stretch of the 2016 election. Here's a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. Everything down. As indicated there, the Dow 77, NASDAQ 16, S&P 500 down at 7. Coming up on News 2, have you heard about the Children's Museum? It's here, and the operation is growing, thanks to business sector pitching in. Details coming up. Well, following news that personal photographs and a private family video that had been shared between Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett and her husband, Jonathan Buckney Small, were illegally obtained and disseminated via the internet, the Congresswoman issued the following statement. She said the theft and distribution of these personal images via the internet marks a new low in Virgin Islands politics. I am shocked and deeply saddened that someone would stoop to such a level as to invade my marriage and the love of my family in an attempt to besmirch me politically. She said private photographs shared between my husband and me, as well as a private playful video of our family, including one of our children, were illegally obtained and disseminated via the internet. She said the criminal acts in violation of both territorial and federal law. The Congresswoman's staff confirmed that the theft and dissemination of the images have been under review by federal law enforcement officials. The election system of the U.S. Virgin Islands informs all registered voters that early voting will be available for primary election 2016. Voting will be conducted at the system's offices in each district: on St. Croix at the office in Sunny Isles, on St. Thomas at Lockhart Gardens, and on St. John at the Marketplace, starting on July 26th and ending on July 31st. Voting will be held daily from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. For more information or questions, you can contact your respective island office by telephone. Delta Airlines and Seabourn Airlines, good news, they announced a code-share agreement that will provide customers from both airlines with increased travel options to and from the United States and Caribbean. This agreement was filed for U.S. Department of Transportation's approval. The code-share flights will connect to and from San Juan. Delta serves San Juan with 4 daily flights from Atlanta and 5 daily flights from New York JFK during the peak season, with seasonal Detroit and Minneapolis, St. Paul to San Juan routes. It also gives Delta more direct access to 5 new Caribbean destinations: Beef Island, BVI, Dominica, Dominican Republic, Nevis, and Anguilla. 2 overdue fishermen are lucky. They were rescued by Good Samaritans early Wednesday morning. Rescued are brothers Francis Bryan and Edvar Bryan, who were located inside a small cove safely aboard their 16-foot fishing boat that had become disabled. Coast Guard watchstanders in Sector San Juan were initially contacted by Edvar's wife at 12:38 a.m. Wednesday, when they reported the men had not yet returned after they departed Tuesday afternoon on a fishing trip from Holbein, St. Thomas. During the search, Coast Guard watchstanders received additional information from Marvin Bryan, who stated that the 2 men usually went to a small cove on the west side of Outer Brass Island, where they were later found, luckily, by the friends of the fishermen who towed the disabled vessel. The VIPD Crime Prevention Bureau Weed and Seed Summer Enrichment Program, they had a full schedule this week, including a youth march and sports day. Sports, Parks, and Recreation Summer Camp, they teamed up to take a stance against drugs and violence. Now, that march started at 8:45 a.m. from Roosevelt Park and moved toward the police station, through the legislature, over Government Hill, and on to the Lionel Roberts Stadium. During the stops, they heard from some elected leaders who took the time out to greet the students and shared some words of wisdom. They were also happily greeted by Governor Kenneth Mapp at Government House, and he shared some well wishes and reminded the students to participate in that summer reading program. McDonald's has partnered with the Humane Society of St. Thomas to host an animal care and pet food drive inspired by the movie The Secret Life of Pets. McDonald's Happy Meals are currently featuring 10 collectible plush toys based on the lovable characters from the hit film. Now, the first 20 cars through the drive-up with a pet will get a treat for the animal and a cone for the driver. That's on Saturday, July 23rd. Volunteers from the Humane Society of St. Thomas will be at McDonald's Tutu Park restaurant from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., accepting pet food and supplies, cleaning supplies, including bleach, brooms, mops, paper towels, and more. Pets will be on site available for adoption. The Humane Society will also be offering some nail trim and microchip services for a small fee. The Children's Museum here in St. Thomas is getting a lot of attention. The VI Children's Museum, which opened Phase 1 on March 20th of this year, recently began fundraising for Phase 2, expected to open by the end of 2016. And they just got their first sponsor, Diamonds International. They made a donation of $4,000. Here's more.
Diamonds International is very proud to be sponsoring the Pangeo Room, and we'll be presenting the museum with a check for $4,000. We're very excited that the Children's Museum has decided to engage the children of the Virgin Islands. It's a wonderful opportunity and one of the best things that's happened for the children in the community in a very long time.
We've just started fundraising for Phase 2. We're very grateful that Diamonds International is our first sponsor for the Pangeo exhibit. We feel it's an integral part of being downtown is to showcase gems and minerals, since it's such an important economic aspect of our island. And we're thrilled that they've embraced our vision. They were the first ones, and hopefully we'll sell all our exhibits and be open by the end of this year.
Regular hours are Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and from Sunday 11 to 4 p.m. We're closed on Mondays.
Awesome museum there, and we will share more about that museum in a future newscast. Stick around, your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.
The weather today was fantastic, and the good news is that over the next few days we aren't going to have too much change in the weather pattern. I'm AccuWeather's Larissa Abreu. Thank you for joining me. Here's a look at current satellite. Really not picking up much, and that's because we have plenty of dry air across the eastern Caribbean, and that will continue to dominate the weather forecast tonight and as we head towards tomorrow. So clear skies, remaining warm, a little humid out there with lows down into the 80s. As we head towards tomorrow in St. John's, we're going to see lots of sunshine, a high of 90 degrees, so very warm here as we wrap up the work week. 90 in St. Thomas, lots of sunny spells there. Meanwhile, St. Croix, you too will bask in all the sunshine, and temperatures will be warming up to 91 degrees. So beautiful day, very warm. So remember, stay hydrated, folks, and exercise caution if you do find yourself outdoors. In the Atlantic waters, we don't have any advisories, so folks doing any boating, it's nice out there with waves between 4 and 6 feet, winds out of the east between 10 and 20 knots. As we take a look at the Caribbean waters, waves are quite similar between 4 and 6 feet, winds out of the east between 10 and 20 knots, and we don't have any alerts or advisories, so conditions are very nice. Here's a look at your next 5 days across the Virgin Islands. Once again, lots of sunshine here for Friday, temperature of 90 expected, temperatures remaining warm into the overnight. We're at 80 degrees Friday night. By Saturday, we'll have the return of those pesky trade winds, so I can't totally rule out the chance for a passing shower or two. Same deal as we head towards Sunday. Even by Monday, we still have the possibility for a couple of those passing showers. Now, the nice thing is we're not forecasting an overly wet weekend. If you do have outdoor plans, I think you should be okay. Temperatures will be warm, as I mentioned, almost in the 90s Saturday, same deal Sunday, and then right back to the lower 80s as we head towards the overnight hours. By Monday, we'll see the return of frequent showers throughout the day, so keep that in mind as we prepare for the new work week. And then Tuesday, that pattern will relax a bit and we'll just see a stray shower or two. Sandy?
Thank you for that. Time for our News 2 weather picture there by Jelena Ortiz, representing Ricardo Richards Elementary School. Beautiful summer shot there. We can see the sunshine, nice overall scene, calm seas. We could feel the warmth in that picture, Jelena. Thank you for that. Send us your News 2 weather picture to News 2 Innovative Business Center, 4611 Tutu Park, Suite 300, St. Thomas, VI 00802. Stick around. News 2 Sports comes your way next.
I'm Gary Anthony, and this is News 2 Sports. Big news in the Little League Caribbean Regional Tournament. The St. Thomas team from Elmo Plastica Little League defeated Bonaire yesterday 11-4. The win guarantees the VI will have a representative in the second round game on Friday at 6 p.m. at Canagator Ballpark. They will face either Aruba, the Dominican Republic, or Puerto Rico. The Little League Caribbean Regional Championship game will be played at 3 p.m. this Saturday. And speaking of Saturday, the Christmas in July All-Star Classic with St. Croix native Rakeem Christmas begins at 4 p.m. at Central High School. There's a slam dunk contest, a three-point contest, followed by a full court extravaganza with the best players from St. Croix going head-to-head with St. Thomas's best. Proceeds of the game go to building a new basketball court for the kids of the Virgin Islands. And don't miss the halftime show by Rock City. Rakeem Christmas also has a few special guests scheduled to arrive.
Names from Syracuse, Chris McCullough, he with the Nets, Jeremy Grant, you with the Sixers. A couple other people said they was going to come on their own, so I mean I can't make any promises on if they coming or not, but they said they was, and I mean like I said, we just going to come out here, have fun. Rock City coming out here to perform at halftime, so you know, everybody loves Rock City, so they're going to come out and see them too.
It's going to be a hot time on the Big Island this weekend. That's it for sports. Sandy, back to you.
Thanks for that, Gary. And that is all for this edition of News 2. I'd like to thank you for joining us for all the latest in news, weather, and sports. I'm Sandra Mansing. Have a wonderful evening.